Alright everybody, so we're back out. As I was going out to cut the property, I got a little bit ways long and I noticed that my blades weren't spinning. So I started doing some investigating as to what could be the issue, and I came up with this PTO clutch and this PTO switch. Now I did quite a bit of research on this before I went ahead with doing anything, and typically your problem is this switch. Now, this is a very common switch. There's really only 3 different types of this same switch made, a number of terminals, and there are some other videos out on YouTube that do explain how to go about testing this switch using a simple multimeter. And what I noticed in my case, my switch was hanging up about halfway through. It wasn't fully engaging or fully. So I have a feeling that this switch is probably what eventually took out the PTO. Now, these PTOs, which are commonly used in a variety of different mowers, this one happens to be off of a Sabre 1848 hydraulic, but it's electric and it's 12 volts. One of the ways you can test this while it's still on your tractor is to once again get out your multimeter and set your multimeter to ohms and check the reading you get coming off of these 2 terminals. You should get about 4 to 6 ohms of resistance. If you're getting any less than 3, this PTO is fried. Now in this particular case, when I did an ohm check on it, I was reading 0. So my first thought was, let's check the wiring that's hidden inside this. I'm assuming some type of Kevlar shield. So what I did was I probed the wires up here. Difficult to see, but the wires do come out of this casing. I probed up here and I probed down here with my multimeter set to ohms, and I was getting a full reading, so there is continuity throughout this wire line. Again, I checked this connection for continuity to the wire. As long as you're getting continuity all the way up to the point of your wires entering the PTO, and you're not getting the 3 to 5 ohm, possibly even 8 ohm resistance depending on the unit, more than likely the winding inside of this is toast. Now these do come apart. I don't have this one disassembled, but there's essentially 3 bolts around this thing that are removable, and this is actually where you adjust this clutch, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But that comes apart, and once that's apart you can see what the inside looks like. There's some steel plates in there. I do have a still picture I'll pop in the video right about now and let you guys take a look at that still shot of what this thing looks like when it's opened up. Now, switch, you're talking probably 20 bucks online. PTO, depending on your machine, can be anywhere from 100 bucks to, if you go with a John Deere, a John Deere replacement part OEM is probably gonna, this particular one is gonna run you about 400, 350. But don't fret, there's aftermarket units out there. An aftermarket for this exact clutch here is about 129 bucks, and it actually does come with a warranty, so do some checking around before you just go ahead and buy the first one you see. Now there are some that are made with more heavy duty bearing and more heavy duty wear plates inside, which are basically your clutch plates of the PTO. So you can look at those too. Just real quickly, a lot of people are unaware of this, and I was unaware of it myself, and I've owned this tractor for 20 years. But alongside this plate on the PTO, now obviously this thing hangs like this on your tractor. This will be up against your engine. You can get up inside here with a set of feeler gauges, and you want to run a feeler gauge in here. Now there's 3 locations. As I pointed out, there's 3 bolts. So you have 3 of these around this housing. And once you get a feeler gauge in there, you want to set that gap roughly to 20 thousandths. That's essentially an air gap. And that air gap is required to allow this thing to release and to pull itself together. Essentially, you've got electric charge that charges a magnet in this and draws the plate down, and that's what engages your PTO. So make sure you also check that air gap before you go too far with tearing this thing off your tractor. I actually checked my air gap while it was on the tractor, so it can be done. And I left the deck on too, so I guess that's just the Texas way. Try and do things as easy as possible. So folks, that's it. A couple of minor tests here using your ohm meter, and you'll be able to tell what's going on if you just have a toast switch or you fried your PTO. They say these generally last between 200 to 400 hours, but I think it really has a lot to do with your cutting conditions. These, very common problem. Sometimes you can just replace this switch and it'll take care of your PTO issue. That and some minor adjustments on the side here, you might be okay. In my case here, this thing is going to have to be replaced. Alright people, so there's just a quick little rundown on PTO diagnostics and what this thing does and how it operates. So I hope that helps you out, and as always, we'd like you to subscribe. Down in the description comment section, there's some information about products available related to the channel, and there's also a link down there for Patreon account for those of you who would like to make a donation to keep these videos on coming your way. So thanks for stopping in, and we'll catch you guys all on the next time around.